Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, Michael. How are you?
Hi, JuanMa. I'm good. How are you?
Are you ready for another Frontity talk?
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay, today we are going to explain together a very interesting project about using custom post types in a Frontity project. And the cool thing about, well, the interesting thing about this type of project is that it requires like some configuration in the WordPress part and then some configuration in the front end part, in the front end part.
That's right. Yeah. So we're going to do a slightly different format from
Mm-hmm.
previously, whereas in previous Frontity Talks videos, we've each talked about different things. This time we're both talking about the same thing. We're just going to walk through working with custom post types with Frontity.
Yeah. Yes, and there are some questions in the community forum about this topic, so we hope this video can help understand a little bit better how to create a Frontity project using custom post types. So,
and we're both big music fans, so we're using a musical example for our to demonstrate custom post types. We're going to use records. We're going to like a fictional vintage vinyl record store as an example.
Okay, so let's start by explaining the WordPress part. I mean, how we have created custom post types, the custom fields. This can be done in several ways, but we are going to show how we have done that. So it's clear what we are going to use then later in the Frontity part.
Sure. Okay, so as I'm sure anyone who's worked with WordPress to any extent before will already know, there's a number of ways you can get custom post types. The most common way would be that you've installed a plugin that implements a custom post type. A very famous example of that would be WooCommerce. The product is a custom post type, and in fact, an order in WooCommerce is a custom post type as well, though less obvious than the product, which you would see in the front end of a WooCommerce site. Another way to add a custom post type would be there are plugins that allow you to create custom post types in a visual way. But the way we're doing it, we've coded up our own plugin. So let me share my screen and I will show you what we...
Well, you are very generous, including me in that. We coded that because you did it on your own completely.
Yeah, but yeah, you had some input and made suggestions, but yes. Okay, I've coded up this the PHP here. Yeah, so like I said, we are creating a little dummy vintage vinyl store, and so we've called the plugin Vintage Vinyl, and the code is in vintagevinyl.php. So you've got the header here, which you need in any WordPress plugin. And this is where we are creating the custom post type. So we're creating an array of labels. This should all be familiar to anyone who's worked with WordPress coding. And then the arguments array, which includes the labels array. Crucially, what I need to show here is that we've got show in rest is true. So that this custom post type, once it's been set up, is once you've added some records or content to this custom post type, so in our case, that's records, that content will show up in the REST API because I've defined show in REST to be true here. And then we register the custom post type, and then on the init action, we run that function that defines the custom post type. And then we do something very similar for a taxonomy, we've defined this is the function that creates a taxonomy, and we register that taxonomy, which we're calling record cat, and it applies just to the record custom post type. And there's our labels array and then our arguments. And again, crucially, we've got show in REST, so that the taxonomy also comes up in the REST API, which of course we need because we're going to be working with a Frontity project, which gets all its data from the REST API. And again, that function gets run on the init action. What we have here now is a shortcode function. This is used. This is how the record custom post type, the content, would get rendered in a normal WordPress theme by using a shortcode function. And in fact, if I pop into pages here, we have a page called catalog, which just has that shortcode. So you can see the shortcode records list. And if I go back to the plugins editor and select the Vintage Vinyl plugin again, you can see if we go down to the shortcode function, we are defining record list. And then adding the shortcode records list, and that's the function that runs whenever that shortcode is included in the content on a page or in a post. This function gets run, which is fetching the record post type from the database with a WP query. So that's the args array. And we're running a query on the WordPress database to get the record post type -1 to get all of them, because we're not paginating in this instance, storing it in a records variable, and then we're just using have posts and while have posts to iterate through the list of records and just render them into the WordPress content. And we can also use this in the in Frontity as well, this shortcode. We will demonstrate that when we come to the Frontity part. And just to quickly demonstrate, so this is the front page, and if I go to the catalog page, this is what that shortcode is rendering. And then clicking on one of the links takes you through. That is just normal index.php from your theme. There's nothing special about that. We haven't done anything special because we're working with Frontity. We haven't created a page template just for the record post type. And then this last function here is we're adding, okay, I should explain. We're using ACF, Advanced Custom Fields, to add a couple of custom fields because we're working with records. Actually, I'm going to delete that test one. We don't need that anymore.
Yes.
And that blank one, yeah, let's just clean up a bit here. We're adding the artist custom field and a year of release custom field. And so going back to that again, we are adding artist and the year of release to the REST API, which will show up in the REST API as artist and year. And so just to show you the backend implementation of that, we've got a records item added to the menu here, and you go in here and add a title. It accepts a featured image and a category, and here are the custom fields: artist, year of release. We've still got the test because I forgot to actually update the where was it again? In the custom fields, I actually forgot to, when I removed those,
to update the...
To update, yeah. because I'm an idiot. Anyway, so now if I go into records and go to one of these records and scroll down to the bottom, now we just have the custom fields we want. And that basically is the implementation that we're using. We haven't got a lot of content. This is a pretty meager record store. It's only got 5 records in stock.
Can you show 2 more things?
Sure.
First thing is how the REST API is showing these custom fields.
Oh yeah, sure. Where did it? Yeah, I've got it here. So let me just refresh that. And you can see each record. So I'm going to WP-JSON WP version 2 record. And we're getting each one. You got the slug, the rendered title, the rendered content. And we see here those 2 custom fields coming in, artist and year. So in the format that we specified. Just select the right plugin. In the format we specify. So although the custom field is called year of release, we're just putting it in the REST API as year, just to make it easier to work with in our JavaScript code. So you can see it coming in as year there. And we go down to the next one, rendered title, rendered content, and we have the artist and the year coming in there. And then the same for each
can
one.
you show what happens when we activate the ACF to REST API plugin?
Oh, yes, yeah. We've got some... so what I'm doing here in the PHP code is I've written some code to add the custom fields to the REST API. What you can do, if you're not up for writing a plugin, say you've installed a plugin like WooCommerce or some other plugin that's already implemented a custom post type, but you want to add some custom fields with ACF and then add them to the REST API, there is a plugin you can use called ACF to REST API. We've got it deactivated at the moment. If I activate that and just go to the, you can see you get, it's in this format. So this is what the ACF to REST API is adding to the JSON. And this is what my little snippet of code is adding to the JSON. So the reason we've added my code is it's really easy to do. It's just a few lines of code. You know, what is it? 6 or 7 lines of code to add them. And it makes it a root level property instead of having to go into, item.acf.artist. You can just go item.artist. What else was there to say about this?
No, I think that we have all the information. We've seen how we have created the custom post types with this plugin, with the custom plugin that you have coded. Here we can see like the creation of the custom post type, the creation of the custom taxonomy.
Taxonomy here.
The creation of the short code that is used in one page.
Yep. Where was that one?
The catalog page.
There, that was here. Yep.
And then the code we have used to add the custom, like the advanced custom fields in the custom post type.
Into the REST API, yes.
Yes. And then we've seen the difference between adding that directly to the custom post type versus using the ACF to REST API plugin, like
correct, yeah.
The way it's shared.
Exactly. And then if I do record_cat here, which you'll remember is the name of our category. where we defined our custom taxonomy, then we should get the categories as well, which we do. So we've got a grunge category, a punk category, and a rock category.
Mm-hmm. Great.
So yeah, so that's how it's all been set up on the WordPress side. So if I stop sharing my screen, and JuanMa, you will show our audience out there
Yes.
the Frontity part.
Yes, I'm going to share my screen. Going to share my screen. And I'm using a big screen, so I shall increase the font. So we have created a demo, a Frontity project, to show how to use these custom post types in a Frontity project. This demo is available here in Frontity's example, custom post types. So the first step of using custom post types in a Frontity project is we need to define these custom post types. I mean, Frontity is prepared to automatically retrieve information from like the default links, the original links, the links of the post that are created by default in a WordPress installation. But if you add custom post types, you need to define these custom post types in Frontity. So if we go,
yeah, I suppose we should say the defined post types are posts, pages, attachments, and Frontity will just fetch those automatically. You don't need to do anything.
Let me open this here. Let me see if I'm custom post types. Yeah. I'm going to make it some room here. I think I need to increase the size of my visual code. Yeah. Better?
Yeah, that's better. Yeah.
Okay, so we have a project. Imagine we create a Frontity project from scratch. The first thing we have to do is go into Frontity settings, JS, that is the configuration file for our project. And we need to define these custom post types here in the source. The source package, we have explained this in previous chapters of Frontity Talks. We talked about the WP source package.
We did, yes.
Yeah. So this package is responsible of getting the information from WordPress. So we have to define here, for example, the URL of the REST API. But if we want to use custom post types, we need to also define here. If we go to docsfrontity.com and we go to Frontity packages, and in the WP source, here we have all the explanation related to this. Here, specifically here, we can see how we can configure the WP source package to be able to get the information of the custom post types. So we have to configure the WP source package so it's able to get two things, the custom post type and the custom taxonomy. So to be able to get the custom post types, we add the post types property, and then we define here a few things like the type of the custom post type. This is defined in the plugin. The endpoint, that I guess that by default is the same unless you define another one.
That's correct, yeah.
And then a specific archive that is going to list all these custom post types.
Yeah, that's an optional. The archive is optional. If you don't, the archive will list all of that, everything in all the content of that custom post type. So in our example, all the records. If you only need to list things by category, you don't need the archive property there.
I think that, yeah, we have here an example yeah, this is interesting because this is equivalent to the catalog page, right?
Yes, but what the catalog page is doing is getting the rendered content that the shortcode function generates.
Yes, so this is, this page will retrieve HTML directly, but this page will retrieve the JSON, like the data in JSON format.
Exactly right. So if we go and look at, if we look at the catalog page and then look in the state, you will see that the catalog will be under state.source page, and then it'll be content.rendered.
Yes, yes, we'll have a look at
we'll
code.
show you all that later, yeah.
Yeah, so first step is defining the custom post types and the custom taxonomies we want to display through Frontity. So here's the definition of the post type, and here's the definition of the taxonomy. We want to use just this one. Taxonomy.
And I think all three of those are required for the taxonomy. Are they not?
Yeah, I think so. Taxonomy, post types, taxonomy.
Oh no, the post type endpoint is optional.
Yeah.
Okay, my mistake.
Okay, so once we have the definition of these two elements, we can go to, let me launch the project. If we go to custom post types and we launch the Frontity project in development mode, this will launch a server in localhost in the 3000 port, and it will listen to any change we do to the code. So our Frontity project, if we go to the Frontity settings, we have set this project to use this package as the theme, the Mars theme vintage vinyl. This is the theme. So if we go to the theme, we can see here the index. And this package, here we have some other configuration. And the starting point of this theme, of this package, is this component, the theme component that is defined here. So if we go to components theme, if we go to, well, if we go to the folder components, the index, I mean, we can do things like, this. I mean, if we don't specify a specific file and we just import a folder, by default, we will import the index.js existing in that folder. So that's what's happening here.
So whatever index.js exports by default is what you'll get there.
Exactly. Yeah. So the index.js here is the theme component. So here, this is the starting point of our Frontity project. And here we are using the custom post types. So every time we load a page, it will start by this component, and then like the logic will be split into different components. It will load different components depending on the type of content required by the link. So for example, here in the home page, the home page is an archive type of data.
Make that a bit bigger.
Yes.
Because you're using quite a large screen there, and
Yeah.
that's better.
Yeah, and here in the console as well. So if we check frontity.state.source, we can see here every type of like the data contained in every link available from WordPress. For example, the home page is this one, and this one is an archive, is true. So in this logic, the archive will show the list component, and the list component is this one. So it will go here, it will load, and it will do the logic. It will show the information from here. But what happens if we go to this link? And these menu elements are defined here. If we go to the Frontity settings, this is the menu. And let's check a little bit the links. So the rock is, we have a menu item for each category that is defined in the WordPress. So we have a menu item for the rock category, the punk category, and the grunge category.
Yes, maybe I should have shown that when we were in WordPress, I should have shown the categories as well as the records. I omitted to do that. Apologies for that.
Yeah, well, it's defined. You have to trust us.
Yeah.
It's defined there. We define like several records assigned to different categories.
Yeah.
Then we have another menu item that is the record cat. This is the archive page defined for this custom post type. And then we have another item that is the catalog. This is the, we'll see this later. This is the page defined using the shortcode. So through this shortcode, we are creating some HTML showing these custom post types. So when we go to this page using Frontity, we will get the HTML and we will display that through React components. But let's go.
So that'll be no different from getting any other page, like an about page or whatever, in Frontity.
Yeah. So if we go to, let's, we have a method here called get. This method gives us all the like the metadata of this link. This is the data that is stored here in source data. In source data. All this, the content of each element is what we get through the get method. So why I'm showing this? Because we can see here like the properties that are being used then here. If we go to the index, we can see that we are using these properties to decide which component we want to load. For example, record cat rock, we can see that record cat, this record is record cat. Is record cat is not showing.
Have you not visited that link yet? So maybe it hasn't got all the information it needs.
So if, okay, so let's check this. For now, we know that it's fetching false, is ready false. Yeah, you're right. This is ready false means that the data of this link hasn't been retrieved yet. We can retrieve the data by going to the page, that we are going to do that in that way. And now if we check this again, yes, we have now more information. And among all the information we have this is record cat. This means
we should point out that it also is archive is true.
Yes,
it's archive. Knowing that we can show that the order of that switch statement makes a difference.
Yes, you're right.
Given that they're both true. So we need to check for is record cat before is archive in order to get our special component.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because if we do this, it would never get
Exactly
here.
right, yeah.
Yeah. So we want to put this before, so when is record cat is detected, like the special taxonomy is detected, we go to a special component created just for this.
Precisely. So the
So,
order matters when you're working with custom post types in this way.
So for every link, we are getting this data, and for every type of data, we are loading different components. So
you can see, sorry to interrupt you, but you can see the same thing happening there for the record component. We're checking for is record before is post type, because a record is a custom post type. It'll also have the is post type property true as well as the is record. So you need to check for is record before you check for is post type in order to get the record component to render.
yeah, we can see that if we click here, we can see how this is record muse. We can go to Frontity .actions state no state source get the information of this link has been retrieved. We can see that here, and we can see what you were telling, Michael, that
is record is true, but also is post type is true.
Exactly.
So if you have a special component for records, you need to check for that before you check for is post type, which will use the post component. Yeah. Otherwise, your records will get rendered using the post component.
Yeah, the order matters a lot.
Yeah.
So we have the list records component that is defined here. I mean, we are importing this record from list records, is defined here. And then we have the record component that is defined here. And these list records, we are using it for each category, for data is record cat, and also for the archive that is showing the records. And that's what's happening when we go here. So if we record cat, yeah, it's record archive. This is the archive that is showing the list of the custom post types. This is what we define here, like this here.
Yeah, which is
Archive
that
record
third
cat.
optional property. Yeah.
Yeah, but
if you take that out, you can still get the different categories like rock, punk, whatever.
Yes, exactly.
But you can't get a full listing of all the records.
I guess that. Yes, it's not working anymore, because
the categories will. So if you click on, say, punk or rock.
But the categories are working.
Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah, you're right. So if we restore this, this is working again. And the content, let me show you. So summarizing a little bit, we have defined the custom post types, we have defined the taxonomy, we have defined a menu to have access, to have direct access to, for example, each category, the archive showing the categories. This is like the special page we have defined in WordPress that is using the shortcode, and we will see that, like the last thing we'll see this one. Then in the starting point of the theme, we have defined some React components to be used when this custom post type content is detected. So when data is record, we will use this record component to show the information here. And when data is record cut or is record archive, we will show these list records. This record is, this one is usually loadable. That means that this component will generate a specific bundle, and this bundle will only be loaded when this record is required. So for example, in the home page, this component is not required, so this bundle is not loaded in the front end. And if we go here, we, well, the logic summarizing a little bit, every time we deal with an archive type of data, there will be an items property showing like the list of elements listed in that archive. So here we are iterating through each item of the items property, and these are records. So we are getting the details of each record. The type will be record and the ID will be each specific ID. We are destructuring the information in that object that we are getting by doing this, and that we are passing this information to the item that is defined here. And here we are showing the information, like the title, subtitle, the media, and the HTML. This is here. This is this. So this is the list records, and then we have the record. The record, when data is record, we will use this. So we do the same. We get the data, like the metadata of that link. By using that information, we can get the details of the record. Once we have the details of the record, we structure the object to get the year, the artist, the featured media, and so on. And then we show that information. This is this.
Mm-hmm.
We are using the title, subtitle, featured media, and we are using here the HTML to React component to show the HTML. Okay, so we have seen how we are displaying the categories, how we are displaying the archive showing the custom post types, the React components that are being used to display this information. And I'm going to explain one more thing before going to the catalog. Here in the components, for example, the container, I'm passing the type of data. So when the data detected is of type record, I'm putting a specific background. This is just an example of how we can pass attributes or props to a React component created using CSS in JS. This is what we're doing. I mean, using style components. This is what we are doing here. We are creating a div style with some properties, but we can use some properties to decide the final style of this component. I'm not going deeper into this, but this is just an example. So if the type detected is record, we will show one background, and if not, we will show another background.
So it's just an example of conditional styling, which
yes,
is facilitated by CSS in JS. One of the great advantages of using CSS in JS is conditional styling.
And then we have like this catalog page that if we go here to catalog, we can see that, let me...
So you might notice that this now looks very similar to when I showed it to you in the WordPress theme earlier.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to load the home page, and then I'm going to go to the catalog. here. So we can see here that in the, what is in
content.rendered, don't you?
Yes,
yeah.
content.render. Here we have no. Well, here we have all the HTML generated by the shortcode that is defined in the backend. And this is HTML, and the difference between this and these all records, as you can see, this is just an item. And if we go to all records, we get here like the 5 different items.
Yeah.
So this is HTML, but this is the JSON. We have here all the information and we can show it in the way we want.
Yeah, so the content.rendered there is just the description.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
In the one below that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, here we have all the JSON data for each item.
Yeah.
And here we have the HTML of that page.
Of a page, yeah.
And as we commented in the previous Frontity talk, we can make use of processors to process this HTML and transform specific pieces of HTML into custom React components.
Mm.
So yeah, we have a lot of things to take control of this content and display it in the way we want.
Yeah, so there's a couple of ways of working with custom post types. Either define it in your frontity.settings.js and work with each post in the custom post type individually, or have the rendered content and then use HTML to React to work with the HTML that you get returned.
Yes. So I think that we are done. We have explained like everything related to the project.
I think we have, yeah.
This demo is available here. We will put like the details in the description. We are real YouTubers. We are telling things such as we will put the details in the description. We just have to say like
hit the subscribe button and stuff like that. Yes, and
like some YouTubers do, like clicking the
oh yes, yeah.
clicking this and you will go to another related video.
Yeah. And we do joke about it, but yes, click that subscribe button.
Yes, of course. Yes, because we are uploading a lot of learning material in video format that I think it's going to be very interesting for the community.
Absolutely.
So to end with, we will put the details of all of this in the description, but there will be this demo is available in this repository, and we will put the link in the description. So yeah, I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Awesome. Yeah, I think we've pretty comprehensively covered how to work with custom post types using Frontity.
Yes. Let's review very quickly what we have done in this demo.
Sure. So we've created there's a number of ways of getting custom post types set up in your WordPress backend. We showed you an example of how we created we custom coded our own custom post type with a custom post type, a taxonomy, used ACF to add some custom fields for some data because of the custom post type we needed artist and year of release for records. And then we had a function to add those to the REST API. So we had them to work with in Frontity. And then we use that custom post type to add some content. We added a number of records and some categories, which I omitted to show you earlier, but I think we've demonstrated that they're there. And then
So yeah, once we have this information in WordPress, like it's mandatory that this information is available in the REST API. So the next thing to check is that we can access all these custom post types and custom taxonomies from the REST API. Once we have checked that, we need to define these custom post types and taxonomies in the Frontity settings in the way we showed you. And once we have that definition, we should be able of accessing these links related to this custom post types from Frontity. So every time we go to these links, we will get the information in data, and from there we can access to the information if that link is a record, in our case, in the custom post type we created, if it's record cut, if it's record archive. And with that information, we decide loading one component or another, and then we can decide the way we want to show these custom post types. And there's an additional way of showing custom post types that is like we have done. We have created a shortcode. We have used that shortcode in a page, and then you can access directly the HTML returned by that page, and you can display that directly in Frontity. And then from there, you can use processors to detect specific blocks and generating like replacing specific HTML patterns by React components by using processors. That is something that
refer to the previous video we did where JuanMa talked about using processes.
Yes. Okay, so yes, I think this is another session, another successful Frontity Talks.
Another one in the bag.
Yes.
Getting a nice collection of content here.
Yes.
So I hope you're all finding it useful. You can, if you want any other topics covered, just put it in the comments, or we have a hashtag as well. If you can ask on Twitter for it.
Yeah. I think the hashtag was Ask Frontity.
Ask Frontity, that was right. Yeah. So if you hashtag Ask Frontity on Twitter, put your comment of what you want us to cover.
Yes.
And we'll see if we can do that.
Yep. Okay. So yeah, we are going to say goodbye.
Absolutely.
And,
yep.
And see you in the next video.
Thanks for joining us. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.